a few months ago, there was this new platform which was set up where essentially people in trail, so it was specifically for trail and ultra efforts, could essentially crowdfund prize money. So you could donate while the race is going on, additional prize money, right? And that came out to a few $1,000 essentially for the individual race.
Yep.
This is, I think, a testament once again to kind of how small in a way the sport is. Like as my background shows, I follow football, so like soccer. There would be no way that there will be a pot for like the winner of the Champions League, right? Like everybody's well paid. So for me though, like I would probably much rather, and this is a personal question, maybe this is why, or a personal comment, that's why I'm doing this podcast, like that effort went towards an anti-doping program, then it went to additional prize money, because my personal feeling is that actually that is where we need to shift a bit, because the focus hasn't been there enough. When you look at the sport from the outside, do you think this is a sport which at the moment needs kind of anti-doping? Like, is it at a level of maturity that it needs it? Do all sports just need anti-doping kind of from day one? Like, how do you look at the sport maybe from an outside perspective, if you follow it at all?
Yeah, so no, that's a really good question and a really interesting take. So my view on this is that in the long run, there's not a choice between spending on anti-doping or spending on athlete prize money. Like anti-doping absolutely is an investment in the future and financial health of the sport. Like so I don't think there's a conflict there at all between money for athletes and money for anti-doping. In the very short term, there might be a trade-off, but in the long run, anti-doping is absolutely an investment in the sport. And I think in the sport of athletics and in the marathon discipline, everyone really gets that now. But to get to that point in athletics and in the marathon, there was a point where the image of the sport was really at rock bottom, and it was hard to get sponsors. It was hard to get credibility for the sport, and we had to, going way back now to 2017, build that credibility bit by bit, and it's still along a journey. But that has been one of the factors that has actually helped turn around the sport financially, is that credibility piece. So when it comes to a sport like ultra and trail, the and maturity, I think a key thing is being proactive about anti-doping and making sure that there's a good anti-doping culture in the sport from an early stage. I'd say is a really good investment in the future. Certainly. And I'm not. I don't pretend to be across the exact financial situation of the sport right now to say this much should be spent or this much shouldn't. What I think is, my team having dealt with UTMB and Golden Trail, I think the fans should be encouraged by the fact that they're really serious about this and they're balancing up and trying to make those decisions. But my impression is that they're aware of the issues and taking them very seriously, which is good.
Are there any kind of last words from your end that you want to maybe tell the audience on, maybe like why they should buy into the concept once again of anti-doping, why it is important, and maybe a small kind of message of hope or like positivity going forward, kind of that you want to tell the audience? Exactly.
Yeah, just look, it's ultra trail running is an extremely exciting and growing part of the sport, and it's getting bigger and bigger all the time and more successful all the time, which is just fantastic. That success will require at some point a good anti-doping program, including out of competition testing. That's just a necessity. When the right time is, and how the cost benefit analysis in relation to that is weighed is kind of going to be an industry decision at the end of the day, and but it will be required in the future. That's obvious. So we're really excited that we've started conversations within the sport about this, and we're looking forward, hopefully, to being a partner to the industry in helping sure that as the sport grows, the integrity of the product of the races is protected. So.